Ariana, so excited to finally be here with you in person at the AWS San Francisco Summit. Super excited.
Justin, it's a pleasure to be here with you, and I'm super excited to actually finally get to meet you in person. We've had so many phone calls.
I know, right?
So, Justin, can you tell me more about this talk you're supposed to give today?
Yeah, so I am actually giving a talk today at our PwC booth at the Convention Expo. And I'll be talking specifically about control tower and building customizations on top of your control tower environment. So, customers are looking for ways to quickly deploy multi-account environments using well-architected principles, and that's where control tower comes in. But where the benefit to things like customization for control tower or account factory for Terraform comes in is building out that baseline infrastructure of those accounts that you're vending out of your control tower environment. So I'm talking through a little bit about what control tower is, some reasons why maybe you want to look at some of those solutions that I just had mentioned, and then kind of comparing and contrasting them to say, why would you maybe want to use one over the other, or maybe use them together, for example. So, like I had mentioned, customizations for control tower or AFT are great ways to deploy the baseline infrastructure. So things like guardrails, maybe security tools, even VPCs, well-architected VPCs across environments quickly. And I know you built quite a few VPCs in your past, and how to do them manually too, right?
Yeah, so prior to joining AWS, I was in industry for 8 years, and my main job was to build infrastructure. So I've built probably 6 to 8 VPCs for the business. And what I would end up doing is I would get the skeleton, if you will, of the VPC, and then I would have to create the subnets. So carving up these CIDR blocks, giving that to the different subnets, and then also having to create the security groups, the NACLs, and that was no easy feat. I mean, when I'm doing that, I have to research what the best practices are, making sure I'm implementing that into it. And then on top of that, it probably took me maybe 4 weeks to 2 months to do all of that. It was very intense.
Yeah.
And all of this is manual. And then on top of that, I have to go to my compliance team, my security team, and say, hey, this is what I've built. I need you to vet this out to ensure this meets your controls.
Right.
So off of that, you've said your team has a lot of experience building landing zones using control tower. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so you hit on some pretty interesting points there. You talked to specifically the speed and how slow it was to actually have to deploy that out, right? And I think that's where control tower comes in from a speed and agility perspective, right? And that's just vending out accounts out of your environment and putting that governance and security controls around that environment. But then when we think about the baseline infrastructure like the VPCs, as you had mentioned, how great would it have been for you at that time to be able to build it once or design it once or create a framework that you can reuse over and over again and deploy out to all your accounts without having to go ahead and do the same thing every single time. And I think that's where things like the solutions I mentioned, customizations for control tower, come in to help do that quickly in a repeatable process.
Yes.
So you had asked the question of what are we doing at PwC to help customers? Well, we've done dozens of landing zone environments, deployments for customers, helping them through that process. And throughout all of those landing zone engagements, we've learned ways to help optimize that process, right? And it's an end-to-end, really holistic process, if you ask me. So everything from understanding the business's needs, taking that, building out the architecture for a landing zone, making sure that it meets their security compliance requirements, for example, and then helping them to go ahead and do that, whether it's maybe through our repository of maybe code constructs, for example, that we've already sort of minted just based on our knowledge and things that customers want to be able to deploy as part of that landing zone, and helping them to do that. So we've really understand that process. We've figured out a way to optimize it and help a customer to deliver their landing zone quickly, as part of building out that overall AWS environment.
That automation piece would have saved me so much time and
trouble. Yeah, I'm sure it would have.
So One other thing that you and your team have been currently working on is working with the control tower team at AWS, doing building on control tower. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so one of the things that like I had mentioned is really helping our customers to quickly deploy out these landing zone environments. So we've worked with AWS to figure out maybe what are some of the gaps in the market to and position us in a unique way to help our customers build these landing zone environments with the things that they need. So we are very closely aligned with the control tower team, understanding where it's at today and where they want to go, and making sure that we're in lockstep and we're delivering to our customers along and co-selling with AWS to really deploy out those AWS landing zone environments.
That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it is very exciting. So we're very happy about it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks. This has been great. I'm glad we finally got a chance to catch up.
Yep, and I will be sure to attend your session as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Ariana.
Have a good one.